In this episode of Viral Rewind, we're going to look at the Backtime DOS virus. Now, this variant we're looking at is 528. There's a couple of different variants of it. One of them is bugged, which is variant 527. 528 here is the corrected variant. There's also one that has the Michelangelo virus that it drops, which is 1234. And there's, I think, one other variant, maybe 337 or something like that. But anyway, we're looking at Backtime 528, which is generally the main Backtime DOS virus. Now, before I run it, we look at our time there, and the current time it says at this point is 11:07 and 32 seconds a.m. Let's run Backtime. And now Backtime is loaded, and it just returns us to the prompt. It doesn't give us any kind of message or anything like that. But let's look at time out of curiosity. 11:07:36. Wait a couple seconds here. Now it's 11:07:25. So Backtime is counting backwards. And what it does is not only does it hook into integer 21, which is not integer 21, I keep getting that messed up, interrupt 21, where it will infect any .com and potentially .exe files as we run them. So let's go back to our DOS2 directory. And let's see what we've got to choose from. So let's look at tree, that's 6334. And now it's 6862, so we infected tree with the Backtime DOS virus. And so whenever we load that infected program, well, now Backtime's going to reload back into memory, infect more files, and continue counting the clock backwards on the computer. Now, if you've got benchmarking programs or programs that are dependent on the system timer, it's not going to function correctly. It could even hang up the system. Now, what Backtime does, the reason it's able to move the timer back like that, is that it also hooks into interrupt 1. And basically interrupt 1 is the, or interrupt 1H as I say, is the system timer. So that it runs, and then what it does is just basically run the timer backwards. However, Backtime does not affect the time in the CMOS chip. The CMOS chip's time still runs normally. It's just the timer when the computer is loaded that's now being run in reverse because of Backtime. So let me exit out of this and bring this down for the iris. And if we look at our GUI here, it's got the clock and the date in the top there. And if we look at it long enough, we should see it roll back from 11:05 to 11:04. Obviously, it's already gone back a few minutes because we started at around 11:07, if you remember. Just waiting at the prompt here, we should see that clock roll back 1 minute. And there it is. Now it says 11:04, so Backtime has now rolled the clock back 1 minute, and we see it in the GUI there. And it's referenced there too in DOS. So there it is. So that's all Backtime really does, is just replicate by infecting files and also hooking into interrupt 1H, which is the system timer, and running the system timer in reverse. But again, it does not affect the CMOS time, which is, again, I can prove this. We'll do a quick reboot of the computer here, and we'll look at the clock in the GUI, and now it will have the correct time on it because it pulls it from the CMOS. So now it says 11:11 a.m. up there at the top. So that's pretty much it for the Backtime DOS virus.